it's Chantel12 here, back again with another review today. Today, I'm re-reviewing Metallica's Ride the Lightning. Now, let me a little backstory. 3 years ago, I reviewed all of Metallica's discography except for Load and Reload. I'm re-reviewing all the albums because I felt like those old videos are stale, they're not worth viewing, and so there's not even worth that point, it's not even worth watching them, so I'm re-reviewing them and giving my standpoint. Now, I said this at the end of the Kill 'Em All video, but you comment down below and you rate the album yourself. I'm not going to rate them because I already did rate them and I don't want the fanboy in me to rate them all 10 out of 10s because that's not fair. So I'm going to give you my personal opinions, but you guys will rate them yourselves in the comment section below. Anyways, back to the album. So, Ride the Lightning. Standpoint of its own right, because the album took a major step towards what Metallica is. Because Kill 'Em All gave the thrash element, it gave their simplistic stuff of what they were trying to accomplish with the thrash movement. Ride the Lightning, what this gives you is a better production quality sound, and the songs are a more, it feels like they've took more time to write them, or they've took more of a standpoint of a moving forward with this thrash movement, with some more heaviness, with some more melodic stuff. This album just really changed a lot of what Metallica was, but kept a lot of the same elements of what Kill 'Em All gave you. But Ride the Lightning made some major changes that are known to a lot of Metallica fans, and what's known for what Metallica writes now today with the Death Magnetic and the EP Beyond Magnetic. So I have the booklet here, and I'm going to read off the writing credits that Dave Mustaine got, because he was kicked out of Kill 'Em All before Kill 'Em All was released. But he still did get writing credits for some of the songs on Ride the Lightning. So the writing credits he did get was the title track, Ride the Lightning, and then I think it was just Call of Ktulu. And other than that, he only got 2 writing credits. So the songs on here, if you don't know, which you can check the description or the tags because they're going to have them, was Fight Fire with Fire, Ride the Lightning, From the Bell Tolls, Fade to Black, Trapped Under Ice, Escape, Creeping Death, and the Call of Ktulu. Now, I wouldn't have to go over that, but so this album, like I said before, was a major change. The elements of what the songs represented, the feel of the songs really grasped a more deeper element of just the simplistic thrash, the rawness of the guitar, the production of it was just better. It felt like this album was more of a punch. It was like, because it felt like to me when Kill 'Em All hit, it was more of a just a big tidal wave just hit the world, because at the time, thrash wasn't really that big. When Metallica came out, it exploded. Just the thrash element, that genre just went everywhere after Kill 'Em All. But what I felt like Ride the Lightning did, it took that thrash element of that tidal wave, but then it gave an extra punch, because it has more variety of what Metallica does. Because on this album, you have Fight Fire with Fire. It gives you raging blast guitars, probably some of the fastest riffs they've ever written, and just the power of that song is just so aggressive and so thrash and so heavy. And then you go off into Ride the Lightning, the title track, which is just slow. It's slow, but it's heavy, it's groovy, and it's got probably one of the most known, or one of the best known guitar solos from Kirk Hammett. And that song it's just a pusher. It just really gives you sort of it kind of slows you down after Fight Fire with Fire, but it's still a groovy thing where you still want to headbang to it. These are often For Whom the Bell Tolls, that gives you it's more of like an anthem. It gives you like a feel of, simplistic type writing, but the song is just so epic in its own right. Like I said, an anthem. It just gives the crowd going. It's a crowd favorite, it really is, and people enjoy that for the lyrical content and for just the simplicity of it, but it's so epic in its own right. It just stands out as one of the best known songs from Metallica ever. Now we jump off into Fade to Black. That song, whoa. How do you explain Fade to Black to a person who just heard Kill 'Em All last year, and then, in 1984, a year later, how do you explain Fade to Black to said listener? Because when people first heard Fade to Black, they were scared. People were confused. People were confused of the Fight Fire with Fire intro, because it was melodic, it was slow, it wasn't thrash, it was just like these acoustic 12-string guitars. But when Fade to Black came in, the first half of the song is just straight melody, straight harmonizing, straight, these simplistic solos from Kirk Hammett, but so memorable, and the lyrical content James is actually singing on Fade to Black. That song, I think, set a standpoint for what Metallica is today. Because Metallica in 1983 was all thrash, just hitting you thrash. But then we get the Fade to Black on the Ride the Lightning album a year later, and we get a song that just embodies the fact of what this side of Metallica that we've not seen. Because at the time, it wasn't really heard of a thrash band to come out with, to go from thrash, just like, heavy riffs and just heavy, fast-paced things, to a slow melodic piece. And even the second half of Fade to Black is still melodic in ways, and it's still a closer, a epic thing. You're riding along, and then you get to the middle, and then we break down into that classic Fade to Black riff. Da 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 da. Get to that, and then from that point on, you get probably one of the most epic solos, in my opinion, to ever hit from Metallica, from Kirk Hammett. And then you just have the band just jamming along to what that's happening. And so Fade to Black set the bar for their ballads, because technically Fade to Black is a ballad. Sorry about that. And then from Fade to Black, it went to Welcome Home Sanitarium. Then we got One, and then we go off into The Day That Never Comes. Like, just that song set the tone for ballads. The first half's got to be all ballady, melody, harmonizing, just really beautiful. Then we go off into this crazy second half that just goes crazy and just blows everybody's mind. Just fast-paced riffs, some really awesome harmonizing bits, solos. Fade to Black set that tone. But I feel like Fade to Black was it was a little ahead of its time, because now when you hear a Metallica record, it's, there's always ballads, or there's a ballad in it. But back then, it was unheard of. Like, Metallica never did it. So when they first did it, they kind of took a chance with that, and it really stood out. Now, I spent a lot of time with that song. Jump off into Trapped Under Ice. Trapped Under Ice is just a simplistic song, but it's fast-paced. It's, it's really crazy. And it's not really simplistic. It's just a straightforward song. Just talking about people trapped under ice. Just a lot of solos from Kirk Hammett. That song just is really fast-paced. It's like one of those. It's like Fight Fire with Fire. It's got a really fast-paced riff. Probably one of the fastest riffs they've ever written. And so Trapped Under Ice is really it's a mediocre song. It's kind of underrated, but a lot of people do enjoy it when they play it live, and people do say, yeah, I like Trapped Under Ice. So that song, it wasn't really like it was a hit and miss. It was more of a just mediocre, but people still call it underrated. But I would say it's a pretty well-known song, but it's really it feels right on the album. It doesn't feel wrong. It just feels kind of like it was just thrown in there, and it fit the atmosphere of the other songs in it. To Escape. Now here is where a lot of Metallica fans will go a little, they don't go down the middle straight like, okay, we accept Escape. It's more of a just go on either sides. One side, just like Escape is crap. It's the worst thing on Zombie. If Escape wasn't on Ride the Lightning would be the perfect album. But or it goes over here, where it's just like, Escape is awesome. It's so underrated, yet it's so groovy and awesome that it's just amazing. Like Escape just really stands out as a Metallica song. It was unheard of back then, and it's still amazing. And, that whole middle line that no one ever goes down, that hardly anybody, if anybody ever does, because fans will never go down that middle road where they just accept Escape. It's either you hate Escape, you wish it was never created, you just want that song to just go burn, or you just love the song. There's no middle ground, because, it's either you hate it or you love Escape. And so a lot of people would consider Escape to be that song where it's radio-friendly. They wrote it for radio-friendly because the studio was like, hey, you got to write a radio-friendly song to be put on the radio stations for this album to get promotion. And they hated it. They finally performed it live at Orion Music More, their own festival, this past year in 2012. And they performed Ride the Lightning in its entirety. And they played Escape. And you could just tell that James just hates that song. So he's more that burn that song, he hates it. But in my opinion, I feel like the song had a purpose, because if that song wasn't on there, what song would they have put? Another ballad? It wouldn't have fit, because Metallica's known to write one ballad on a thrash album. They were known to write one ballad. Would they write another fast song like Fire, Fire, Fire? It wouldn't fit. Usually there's only one fast, heavy song that would actually sound fit. So I'm trying to figure out, if Escape wasn't on the album, where would it have gone? I mean, what song would have been put there in place of Escape? That's my only thing. But Escape, it's the black sheep of the album. People say, it's the crapper. It's not even worth listening to, but I consider it I'm glad it was put on the album, because it makes a stand for, this is what Metallica had to do in order to gain commercial success. But I will have to say, I do enjoy Escape. It's just, it's not typical Metallica back then. Anyway, so we go off into Creeping Death, which is a really known, popular song. It's well known. It's the pinnacle of Metallica. It's a lot of the opener for Metallica shows. The crowd goes crazy when it's played. It's just a fast, heavy song, a lot of thrash element. A really well-known solo from Kirk again. Just a lot of everything on this song really stands out. The middle section, die, 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 die. The crowd just goes crazy over that part. That song just gives you a feel of, getting ready for Metallica show. Because if they open the show with Creeping Death, it's going to be a great show. That's just how it's going to be. Anyways, so we go off into the Call of Ktulu, which here is where things changed. So we go from Kill 'Em All, which had a instrumental, but it wasn't a full band instrumental, because Anesthesia Pulling Teeth from Kill 'Em All, sorry, was Cliff Burton's song. Now Lars Ulrich did drum on it, but it's not his song. It's Cliff Burton's song. Then we go into Call of Ktulu, that ends the album on Ride the Lightning. It ends Ride the Lightning on a high note, because the Call of Ktulu spawned other instrumentals from the whole band. Now what the Call of Ktulu had that no other instrumentals had, except for Orion, of course, was lead bass from Mr. Cliff Burton. For the first 4 minutes of the song, well, it starts off with a really melody piece, but then it jump into the actual distorted guitar riffs. Cliff Burton goes crazy on bass. He just goes wild. It's basically like the first part of Call of Ktulu is like Anesthesia Pulling Teeth Part 2. Because, yeah, the band is playing, the Call of Ktulu riff, they're jamming along, but Cliff is behind the band, jamming. He is just going crazy. And you can tell that he put a lot of work into just writing these crazy melodic solo bits over the Call of Ktulu riff. And then we go off into the breakdown, we go off into these Kirk Hammett just going wild and crazy on the solo, and then the song ends just with them banging away at the end. It's a great way to end the album, and it was unheard of, and it was a thing that Metallica only did once. Metallica have not ended an album since Ride the Lightning with an instrumental, and it's the only time it's ever happened. And I feel like I'm glad that they did that, because it would have felt weird if they would have ended the song or ended the album wise with Creeping Death. It felt right that Call of Ktulu ended the album. So basically, and the gist of all that was this album gives you a lot of heaviness, a lot of thrashness, a lot of the elements from Kill 'Em All that you've known to love from the classic thrash Metallica. But it gives you a lot of key changes, a lot of game changers. James Hetfield actually sings. There's a ballad. There's an actual instrumental with all 4 members playing on it, and just a variety of songs. Escapes on it, so there's a big change. But in all, Ride the Lightning is basically, in my opinion, a step up from Kill 'Em All, because they went from that simplistic thrash element that was really good, don't get me wrong, but then they took Ride the Lightning and stepped it up with the production quality, the guitar sound, and an all-instrumental from all the members in the band. And just the thrash element was just raised, and the more heaviness was brought upon this album. So like I said, guys, before at the beginning of this video, you comment down below and you tell me, you rate the album, and you also tell me what your favorite song off this album is. Or if you can't choose, just give me a list, or rate the songs, all 8 songs from, 8 to 1, 8 being the lowest, 1 being the best. You can do that, I guess. It's whatever you guys want to do. Anyways, guys, as I always say, you like the video and you subscribe for more metal videos, and I'll see you guys on Friday with Weekly Metal Topic.